Here begins the journey of the return of the frozen player, Chapter 0. The screen shows Earth Area's final boss monster and then Frost Queen. Among the final 5 players, one stands ready, facing an unseen threat. 25 years passed, he awakens from his icy slumber to a chilling sight. But then a system message appears, confirmed possession of the skill Frost X. He realizes that Frost X is the only way to save his comrades. Awakened, he's met by monsters inside the gates, fiends that threaten his life. And a burning city looms over a giant monster's eye. The dragon's presence threatens to consume the world. Even newly appeared boss monsters stand before him and threaten his resolve. He dodges the incoming attacks, his movements swift against the magical strikes. Now he vows to reclaim lost strength and save his frozen comrades from their icy prisons. That's why he abandoned the name of Spectre, which became a legend. And so he heads to the gates once more, his resolve burning stronger than ever. Seo Young-ho faces the Frost Queen in her icy domain, his sword ready. The Frost Queen asks how it feels to abandon comrades. Young-ho answers with a cold die. Young-ho grips his sword, knowing his frozen comrades are strong. He asks if killing her will end everything. The Frost Queen laughs, clearly amused. She tells him he's ignorant about this world, hinting at a bigger picture. Young-ho coldly tells her to shut it. He's not playing games. He's here to end this, declaring that he'll kill her. Young-ho declares that he will end this nightmare with a powerful strike. The clash begins, and both Young-ho and the Frost Queen unleash powerful attacks at each other. Swords collide in an explosion of light and power. The battle rages on, neither combatant giving an inch. Their powers surge as the exchange continues. Young-ho's green energy and the Frost Queen's ice clash violently, creating a whirlwind of destruction. The clash sends shockwaves. Purple energy cuts through the air and ice explodes from the ground. The sword beams fly towards the Frost Queen as she stands on the shattered ice. Young-ho is determined to win. The Frost Queen smirks, amused. Young-ho retorts that he doesn't share the sentiment. He clenches his fist, ready to finish this. Suddenly, a system message appears. Young-ho's body is going into hibernation to absorb the nucleus. 76 hours earlier in Antarctica, the final dungeon was found. It was the Frost Queen's nest. The man is shocked. "Are you freaking kidding me?" he yells at the person who absorbed the power. After finally reaching the stairs, a message appears. Only one person can go up. A masked figure states that Spectre should go up the stairs alone. Another agrees with Skaya's opinion. Another man clicks his tongue, frustrated he can't be the one to go. Someone questions their decision. A female character says she agrees with Spectre going alone. Spectre walks forward, then it's settled. Spectre is asked if he is sure about going alone. Will they regret it? Above, a masked figure is trusted by the others. A woman says they believe in Spectre. Spectre looks at his team. He thinks, "You guys." He feels bad leaving. The story jumps 25 years into the future. In the year 2024, monsters appeared. 5 heroes carry the hope, heading to Antarctica. They ask who will be on the nest attack team, and one is chosen. The legendary players made history. The world celebrates the 5 heroes who defeated the Frost Queen. Safe zones emerge. A boy shouts that the ice statue moved. A woman tells him that he is incorrect. The woman confidently states nothing should happen to the ice statues, then looks worried. Back in the present, the hero is being consumed by ice. No way, he thinks. Absorption rate hits 100%. Young-ho kneels, ice forming on his body. A system message appears, "Congratulations." Young-ho feels cold. A message confirms the absorption. He now has the Frost X skill. What, he wonders. The crowd cheers. A battle begins, but what exactly is going on? Chapter 2 begins, showcasing the title, Return of the Frozen Player. Spectre wakes up in a hospital bed, shocked to see news headlines. He reflects on how weak he feels after being frozen for so long. The nurse informs Spectre that the Player Association president is coming. He doubts their friendship now. Seo Young-ho reflects, stating the world has truly changed to what people wished for. Looking out at a peaceful world, he wonders what he's supposed to do now. Spectre removes his mask, declaring he doesn't need it anymore. The staff seems shocked. Spectre smiles, asking if heroes are even needed in this peaceful world. The staff seem nervous. A man arrives, offering an explanation. The man demands to know who Spectre is, with a group of people behind him. Someone mentions Deokgu. Another man asks for privacy. The man addresses him as Junho, commenting on how he hasn't aged. Spectre grins, recognized as Deokgu. The man jokes about Junho's baldness, causing Junho to laugh out loud. Junho knew he wouldn't get a touching reunion. The man says Junho hasn't changed, but looks a little different. Junho wonders about the doctor's reaction. A message congratulates Junho on defeating the Frost Queen. Safe zones are appearing worldwide. The world's joy is short-lived. A dimensional elevator appears in the Pacific Ocean. The players are shocked as they learn that they can go to the frontier area. After lengthy meetings with the players and politicians, the world decides to send an expedition squad to the frontier. The squad gears up for their mission. The man explains that the second floor was a land of opportunity. Spectre wants to know about the other floors. The man mentions 10 floors. Seo Young-ho recalls defeating the queen took 5 years. In 25 years, where are his comrades? Junho realizes that he went to Antarctica with only 5 players. He asks which floor they are on now. The man is thinking about humanity only cleared up to the second floor in 25 years. Junho sits quietly on the bed. The man asks why he is being silent. Junho is still sitting on the bed, staring at the ceiling, exhausted from all the information. I don't have anything to say, he thinks to himself. Junho is shocked at how much time has passed. After so long, humanity has only cleared the second floor. The man offers an explanation, but Junho brushes it off. The man agrees to listen out of curiosity, wondering how stupid the reason is. The Frost Queen's nucleus. Junho is surprised by this information about the tower. The man explains the next level's challenges. The man apologizes, explaining that they searched countless times for the Frost Queen's nucleus. Junho reflects on absorbing the Frost Queen's nucleus. The man comforts him, saying, everyone makes mistakes. Junho looks at the man's face, so if I make mistakes you have to understand. The man replies, of course, how could I not? Junho thinks, shit. The man thinks about the right time to tell Spectre all the information. Junho declines the man's food offer and stares at the Seoul History Museum pamphlet. He asks if it's really that famous. The man sighs. Junho states he's going to the first floor. The man tells Junho that it will be inconvenient to go together since there are reporters below. Junho says he will come back to the hospital. Roger that. Authentication successful. Junho sees a massive dragon skeleton on display. Damn, they put that thing here. Junho arrives at the entrance to the first floor thinking, it must be here. Junho arrives at a chamber where his frozen comrades are preserved in ice. He bows his head, ashamed, and apologizes for being late. Junho remembers the faces of his comrades as he sees them in the ice. A toast is made to honor their sacrifice. Junho offers a drink to his frozen comrades. The alcohol tastes sweet, doesn't it? Junho notices his friend is frozen in ice. Ah shit, Junho says in frustration. He brushes the dust off the ice. A message pops up. Confirmed possession of the skill Frost X. Junho is shocked as he can't remove the seal. Insufficient magic stats. Junho wonders if he can break the seal holding his frozen comrades. He is determined to bring everyone back from their icy prison and checks his stats. The information screen shows he has Frost X. Junho notices the description. Original abilities will restore as he levels up. Frost X is the key. Junho is confused by the information on the screen. He asks, did I get this after killing the Frost Queen? He sees it mentioning going up a floor. He hopes to return to his original power as he ascends. He declares that he can take the Frost Queen's power for himself. Junho vows to save his frozen teammates. Just wait a bit, I'll get you out of there. A voice booms out, you want to be a player again. Junho eats, thinking, I don't know how to do anything else. The man scoffs at Junho's desire to be a player, remembering his retirement wishes from 25 years ago. He doesn't agree with Junho's plans and wants him to rest. Junho smirks and mutters, it's because of the Fiends. He seems eager to fight. The scene shifts, illustrating how some players abuse their powers to commit heinous crimes. They cause chaos and destruction. The world is in danger. The scene shifts to a lawless area. They must be having a field day. Junho eats as dark figures appear, wishing for revenge against Spectre. Junho eats but is told to return as Seo Junho, not Spectre. He shrugs. The 10th floor, I need to get there. The man asks Junho why he's so set on going back. He confirms the 3rd floor lava zone is still uncleared. Junho wonders what if. Junho finishes eating. The man yells ecstatic, I told you I knew a way. Junho finishes his meal, but clarifies it wasn't the xiaoliantang he was eating. The man shouts in disbelief, you ate the nucleus. Junho explains, it forced itself in, what was I supposed to do? The man clutches his chest, feeling his blood pressure rise. Junho peeks at him and declares that he has frost skill now. The man asks if Junho is returning for his comrades. Junho confirms with a simple yeah. The man is relieved and says, that's good to hear. Junho is called the best Diakgu. Laying back, Junho thinks he is level 1 because he is sealed. He asks for a new player license. Junho asks if he can get a license. The man says the guilds are more powerful. Junho is told that the big guilds attend the licensing exams. He learns that he needs to take the public exam to get his license. He's out of luck. Junho groans, finding the licensing issue annoying. The man suggests he thinks about it, it's a good chance. Junho smirks, confident in his plan, I think we can get that, Zoho. Junho says, sitting up, I'm looking forward to the exam. Junho arrives at the Player Association, the license exam site. He nervously holds his number. Junho overhears a woman mentioning how expensive the exam is. He then realizes the waiting room is full of people. It'll be a while before my turn, he thinks. Junho wonders if he should eavesdrop on the other examinees. His enhanced hearing skill activates. Someone mentions that the examiner is the President Shim Diakgu. Junho thinks it's his 4th attempt. Junho thinks it's peaceful, but suddenly an announcement calls for number 1. He realizes his turn is up. The test begins, the timer starts at 1 second. President Shim Diakgu seems interested and watches with keen eyes. The other examinees are surprised and impressed by Junho. Junho's spear skills force the monsters to retreat. The examiners are impressed, one is even jealous. Who knows, another says. The system warns him about opponents getting close, and that waving won't work. The examiners declare Junho's test complete and call for the next applicant. They are clearly shocked by Junho's performance. Someone notices Junho and wonders who he is. They remark that he has every weapon imaginable with him. The announcement echoes number 75, Seo Junho, are you ready? Junho nods, preparing himself. The exam will now begin. Dwarves spawn, the system says they are 130 cm tall and weak. There's 20 of them, one says. Another continues, well, no matter how they imitate. Junho grins, Kaya tilde, it reminds me of the old days. He taunts the dwarves, come. Junho unleashes his power, icy blue strikes the dwarves. Time to end this. Junho's spear attacks are powerful, killing the dwarves instantly with ice. They dissolve. More dwarves spawn as soon as Junho defeats the first wave. He wonders what the point is. Junho attacks behind him. The dwarves try to sneak up on him. These rats keep trying to sneak up on me. One dwarf tries to run away but is shot down. Junho says, there's no use in running away. The system announces is the famous marksman Gilbert Green. A marksman appears ready to fight. The dwarves charge, but their attack is futile. Of course, this guy's the last one. Junho draws his sword ready to strike. He slashes and a dwarf is sent flying through the air. The marksman is gone, but another dwarf stomps forward. Junho's earlier strike sends a dwarf flying away. Junho grips his sword tightly, ready to fight. The dwarves are defeated swiftly by Junho. Junho's power erupts as he is bathed in light. He defeats the dwarves. Junho groans, surprised that he already passed. I'm already in pain, he thinks. The observers are shocked by Junho's skills. He managed spear, knives, arrows, and swords, one says. His frail body shouldn't have been able to do that. The staff look at Junho's profile. They are surprised to see his weapon skill is D rank. It's not even a sub-skill, one says. The examiners think Junho's skill is not worth the investment, it's best to avoid it. With this, an examiner thinks that recruiting Junho will not be a problem. Another feels bad about fabricating his profile. Junho's license exam result is displayed, showing he passed with weapon mastery. Chapter 5 begins. Spectre faces new challenges on his journey. Shim Deokgu laughs at Junho thinking, wow, this novel is crazy. But the reality is the most famous player is just another guy, discharged 2 days ago. Shim Deokgu grits his teeth trying to contain his laughter. "Seo Junho," he exclaims as he watches him. Deokgu asks what Junho is reading. Junho responds, the main character is a priest but they fight instead of healing. Deokgu replies, are they crazy? Deokgu puts down a photo. Junho's hologram screen asks why he wants info on uncleared gates. Deokgu wonders if he's serious. Junho says he's going, questioning why he'd ask otherwise while looking at the info. Deokgu exclaims, what? Among all the gates, some are too dangerous. Even the corpses of players are not left behind. The screen shows the risks of the uncleared gates. Junho replies, why are you worried? Don't you know who I am? Deokgu admits that's true, but he can't let Junho go to such a dangerous place. Junho says Deokgu's name. Junho thinks it's supposed to be a touching moment, but he's going anyway. He has a lot to gain. Junho wonders about the gain. The uncleared gates have huge rewards and EXP. Junho agrees that he wants to level up faster. Deokgu reminds him he already died. Deokgu argues there's no need to do things the dangerous way. Junho insists that's not the only reason. Junho remembers his past self ruthlessly fighting. He thinks, I wouldn't call it pressure. Deokgu sighs, revealing there's only one gate Junho can enter at his level. It appeared 7 years ago. Junho feels confident about going to Curse of Dawn, a novice gate. Junho's watch blinks and he's surprised. Deokgu smirks, stating that Junho will be his underling for a year. Junho asks if he said underling. Junho is surrounded in power, replying he'll show Deokgu what a servant truly is. Junho asks if he can stay in player housing for safety. Deokgu gives him a room, offering a whole floor if he does well. Junho smirks and Deokgu tells him to hurry up and open the box. Junho wonders what is inside. Junho is amazed by the coat, noting how light and durable it is. He asks where Deokgu got it. Deokgu reveals the coat was made by Kwon Noya. Junho is shocked. Is he alive? Deokgu explains that Kwon Noya is 98, handing down his work to his grandson. Junho is surprised and wants to thank him. Deokgu stops Junho, claiming he can't go because they have to protect him. Junho asks Deokgu if he suspects Kwon Noya. Deokgu denies it. Junho realizes someone is watching Kwon Noya's workshop. Deokgu explains the Fiends are aware of Kwon Noya's connection to Spectre. It would reveal Junho's identity. Junho agrees. Junho realizes traveling overseas as a beginner to meet Kwon Noya would attract attention. Deokgu reassures Junho, saying he supports him, hoping Kwon Noya will understand. Junho knows there is nothing they can do. Deokgu tells Junho to thank Kwon Noya. Deokgu tells Junho that the warehouse has weapons he can use. Deokgu asks when Junho will leave, but Junho is still recovering. He needs to improve his stamina. Shim Deokgu asks how long it will take. Junho thinks a month is too long. 10 days later, Junho arrives in Nanyang Province, Chinma Mountain. It's closed off. Junho says, let's do this, as he approaches the gate, ready to enter the Curse of Dawn. The screen shows the clear condition: survive until the sun rises. Junho gasps for air, exhaustion etched on his face. He's reached a new area with a strange orange sky. Junho breathes heavily, finding the air surprisingly comfortable. He notices the surroundings. This place is a graveyard. Junho smirks, finding the graveyard strangely cozy. He reads the gate's information, labeling it Curse of Dawn. Analysis reveals morning entries have higher survival rates. Time inside the gate flows differently, impacting afternoon entrance. He thinks back to the others who attempted the gate, level 1 players. Junho smirks, give me everything you've got. Junho looks around the spooky graveyard with a weird feeling, like I'm being haunted. Junho's eyes narrow, maybe it's the undead. He sighs, this will be annoying. A hand bursts from the ground, the sound ripping through the silent graveyard. Junho thinks I knew it. With a swift strike, Junho slices the undead. No, there's no need to come out, go back inside and rest. Junho senses a lot of undead nearby as Hunter's Night activates, enhancing his senses. The undead surround Junho, their decaying hands reaching. He sighs, damn, there's a lot of them. A zombie lunges, mouth open and ready to attack. Junho slices through it with ease. The undead keep coming, ignoring pain. They only focus on attacking Junho, relentless in their advance. Junho slashes through the undead with ease. They're perfect for causing panic. Novices who don't have any recovery skills will not survive, as he thinks. I understand why it's called the novice's grave. More undead burst from the ground. This one's face is decaying, mouth open in a scream. Junho slashes the undead, blood splattering. He smirks, but I'm a two-time rookie. I'm not so weak that I'll fall to the likes of you. The undead surround Junho, a lot more than he anticipated. This is too much. After fighting the undead, Junho pauses to catch his breath under the eerie glow of the moon. A figure sits among the tombstones. Is that it? Junho calls out, who's there? Junho hears a voice. Where are you? A frail voice whispers, a person. Oh, over here. Faint sobbing can be heard. Junho calls out, are you down there? A frail voice replies, why yes, here. The stranger claws at the ground, asking, how did you get in here? Kneeling down, Junho asks, can you yell really loudly? I got it before that. Gunshots ring out, shells hitting the floor as the undead fall quickly to Junho's attacks. An unseen figure responds to Junho's attacks. You were the one who did this. A massive undead far larger than the others appears. The figure says, you were the one who did this. The massive undead attacks with a swift kick, a powerful attack with wide range. Junho thinks about the survivor. There's no way someone is alive in an uncleared gate. Junho, standing over the defeated undead, realizes it wasn't the zombies themselves that were the problem. A system message appears. All hostile monsters have been killed. Junho levels up to level 5. Junho is surprised that he cleared the gate. A system message appears, rewarding him with a new skill. A screen displays Confession of the Dead Sea. Junho thinks, a memory reading skill. Junho clenches his fist, feeling the power of his new skill. He grins, I'm excited. Junho looks up to the sky with a new goal in mind. Chapter 7. Spectre gets ready for whatever challenges lay ahead in this world. Shimdeok Gusai's overwhelmed by the constant attention since Spectre's return. The phone rings. You look pretty happy though, someone on the other end remarks. He reads the news, Gate Curse of Dawn cleared in 1 day. Still, Junho refuses to reveal himself. Shimdeok says that if Junho clears the uncleared gates, he'll be highly sought after. Junho learns this item is a legendary limited edition luxury item. That's right, he says. Deokgu thinks, still I can't leave them hanging for too long. He is interrupted with a sudden hey. It implies a big reveal. People assume Junho will keep clearing gates and reporters are showing up too. Junho smirks, the world will gradually come to know. The numbers counting down are a timer. Junho is training hard with handstands. 7, he grunts. Junho struggles to maintain a handstand in the water. 3, he shouts, exhausted. A strength stat increased by 1. Finally, he lays exhausted in the water. Phew, then he suddenly sits up, hup. Junho is exhausted and drinks some water. I finally feel alive. He puts on a towel and says, let's see. Junho checks his watch after intense training and sits down to view data screens. Luf's Garden. 9 years ago, Luf's Garden appeared, Korea's oldest uncleared gate. So they had no choice but to leave it to other countries. They hired Tushar Vishi, a super rookie from India. He's a genius with a bow. Junho thinks about how Tushar Vishi failed to clear Luf's Garden and everyone lost hope. A 22-year-old with a bright future died trying. The panel looks over the failed Luf's Garden gate. What a shame. Junho plans to prepare more thoroughly, seeing his stats are above 30. This should be enough. If even a rising star like Tushar failed, there might be hidden threats. Junho stretches, preparing for anything. Having mastered his skills, Junho experiments with Frost. Since I can use the Frost skill now, I've started getting used to it. Junho stands at the entrance to Luffy's garden, ready to face its challenges. The clear condition is to defeat all monsters. Junho thinks failing with four-man parties means there's a hidden trap. He remains cautious and looks around. Junho decides to avoid a suspicious area for now. He notes that Luffs emerge at night. Junho realizes that Luffs are nocturnal monsters, so I should just take it easy. The forest is eerie and still. He's surrounded by odd trees with dark and twisting branches in Luff's garden. Junho startles as the Luffs emerge at night. You should at least tell me. Junho finds that there are only 2 Luffs so far and says, "What a lukewarm greeting." Suddenly, a Luff charges towards him. It's massive and monstrous. Junho swings his sword, frost swirling around it as he attacks the Luffs in Luff's garden. Junho leaps into action, his sword a blur of frost against the Luffs. Frost blasts out as Junho attacks 2 Luffs at once. One Luff is launched backwards through the air. The sound of the Luffs shattering fills the air after a devastating... Junho stops mid-swing, a strange feeling washes over him. Junho says this is great, the Frost Queen's power sure is, as he tests the Frost skill. Junho wonders if it's a monster wave but scoffs, well 2 monsters is too little. Junho uses the Frost skill to create a devastating ranged attack on the Luffs. Junho unleashes a flurry of Frost attacks, striking the Luffs with incredible speed and precision. The attack leaves a deep gash in the ground as Junho prepares a follow-up strike. The Luff screams as Junho delivers a devastating blow. A thunderous sound fills the area. Junho looks around at the remains of the Luffs. It's already over, that was quick. Junho is shocked to see even more Luffs appearing. When did they gather this much? Junho is covered in monster blood. They multiply when they're killed. Junho is set to face the monsters in Luff's garden. It is Chapter 8. Junho sees Luff spawning. He says, "Ah geez," ready to fight. Junho is overwhelmed by the sudden amount of Luffs. One of them strikes at him with a glowing blade. Junho is sent flying backwards from the Luff's attack. He's shocked at the sudden force. The Luff prepares another glowing strike towards the downed hero. The glowing blade connects. The ground explodes from the sheer force of the Luff's powerful attack. Junho is encased in a shell of ice after the Luff's powerful strike. He is helpless. Frozen and defeated, Junho lies amongst the debris. The Luffs close in for the final blow. Junho struggles to stay conscious. "Phew, I'm so tired," he mutters, questioning how long he's been fighting. It's not impossible to clear. The Luffs are still closing in. Junho thinks, something's bothering me. Many strong players challenged Luff's garden in the past 9 years. Tushar Vishi was one of the best. But even as the Luffs descend, Junho moves, eyes gleaming with a cold resolve. Energy gathers as he remembers something important. Why did he fail? Junho thinks with determination. Junho is frozen and defeated. "Phew, I saw my life flash before my eyes." Despite being frozen, Junho remains optimistic. "As long as I'm not dead, it's fine." Despite everything, Junho remains confident. "I've always had a knack for finding loopholes." Suddenly, a mysterious figure approaches the frozen Junho. Is it an enemy or an ally? The air is thick with the scent of death. He spots bodies on the ground. Were they trying to run away? That's a lot of parties. A figure stands in the distance, a reminder that, if you can't block the wave, this is just a dead end. Junho sighs, "Ah." Suddenly, a light shines. Junho is shocked to see a man kneeling on the ground. This is the end. Junho notices something. "That bow," he says, remembering, "if I recall correctly, that's Tempest." The mysterious man clasps his hands together. "Please excuse me," he whispers as he wields the bow, Tempest. The narration explains that the bow, Tempest, flies unpredictably like a butterfly. The Indian government rented it to Tushar Vishi. As Junho spots the kneeling man, his attention shifts to something else. A notebook lies beside the skeleton hand. Junho peers at the notebook. It's April 7, 2044, 12:40 p.m. I was commissioned to clear the Luff's gate. As Junho reads the notebook, he remembers hearing someone say, "Tushar." The man in the notebook thinks, "They came all this way for help, how could I turn them down?" The kneeling man looks up asking, "You're really coming with me?" A woman replies, "Yeah, of course I am." The woman says she believes in Tushar and would follow him anywhere. She is thankful he asked her to come along. The notebook reveals Tushar saying, "Plus I have to protect you." His partner Zaya questions, "Protect me?" Zaya assures Tushar, "Of course I do, I'm your partner." Tushar smiles softly and replies, "Yeah." The memory changes. Tushar and Zaya are together holding hands under a sunset. He vows, "We'll clear it no matter what it takes." A child's voice echoes, "Daddy." Tushar is seen calling out to his, "My baby Tilda." In Tushar's memories, his daughter asks where he's going. He replies, "I'm going to work." His daughter says, "Okay," as Tushar hugs her goodbye. "Then we'll go see animals together, promise." The memory shows Tushar with crossed arms watching his daughter. The other man says, "Let's go." The man in the memory says he can't refuse to help. Junho says, "Thank you." In a flashback, two men walk together, one saying, "I need to get my share for my kid." Haha, look forward to it. The memory shifts again, two men walk together, one smiling. "Ram, it's been a while, thanks for coming." Tushar recalls Zaya's plea for him to help. Tomorrow's the day, he thinks, readying his bow, Tempest. Tushar practices his archery, hitting the bullseye repeatedly. He thinks, "I'm doing pretty good today." Chapter 9 of Return of the Frozen Player is here. The view of Luffy's garden amazes Junho, his eyes widen in shock. Junho knows he can't get distracted, this is a dungeon. The date is revealed to be April 24th, 2044 at 8:33 p.m. The Luffys emerge from the shadows, their glowing eyes piercing the night. Isn't that too little? More Luffys are coming, there's 32 of them this time. He warns them to be careful. The Luffys attack Junho with a flurry of blows. Will he be able to evade it? Junho takes multiple arrows but yells to the others, "Take the others and go." A fellow player shouts, "Run, run to the maze, Tushar, hurry up." Every time they are defeated, more of them come. An arrow hits Junho, he wonders, are they doubling their numbers each time? He yells, "This dungeon is crazy." The dying player calls out to Tushar, "Take care of my daughter." The dying player begs, "Please." Another day passes in this cursed garden. One of their comrades succumb to their injuries, leaving a heavy atmosphere. Tushar sheds tears. The sun sets on April 25th, 2044 at 7:12 p.m. "O great Shiva, grant mercy unto us." Junho looks down. The remaining party members are ambushed and defeated by the Luffys. He writes in his notebook, "We defeated the fourth wave of Luffys last night." The character thinks to himself, "We've been fighting for our lives. There's about 40 left, I can take them." Junho stares intently, believing tomorrow we'll be able to leave this place. Tushar holds Zaya's body close. He begs that there won't be a sixth wave of Luffys. Tushar cries over Zaya's death. He remembers the promise he made and thinks, "I promise to clear it." A determined expression hardens Tushar's face, followed by, "But what's the point if it's not with you?" A Luffy mercilessly strikes down Junho. Above him are the words, "For you to die." Junho coughs up blood, he gets struck. Will he be able to survive? The Luffy dodges the attack and mocks him. Tushar's face is full of grief as he says, "Ram, you were a fiend." Tushar is in disbelief that Ram is a fiend. The evil Ram retorts, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard." Ram says, "Your lover was stupid just like you." Tushar grits his teeth and yells, "You bastard." Ram is thankful that Tushar cleared it with him. He asks Tushar to give him Tempest. Ram asks Junho what's with his face. Ram adds, "You're scared of dying, is that it?" Ram expected Tushar to stay and fight. "Wow, I didn't expect you to run away." "Well, it doesn't matter." Tushar is shocked to find out Ram is a fiend. "Impossible, this can't be happening," he yells Ram. Junho's arm is injured, he exclaims, "There was a sixth wave." He curses, "Damn it, I'm losing feeling in my arm." The character is running through the forest, he says like this. Junho continues to flee, coughing. He's wounded and running through the dark forest, trying to escape. Junho refuses to die, exclaiming, "I can't die like this." Tushar is bleeding out and thinks. Junho thinks, "Shit," he realizes, "I've lost all feeling in my right arm." The notebook reads, "If someone finds this notebook, tell our families that we're sorry." Junho sees two figures in the distance. His eyes narrow and he wonders, is that it? Junho flips through the notebook saying, "Oh, there's a few more pages." Junho is injured but he keeps writing, "This was that fiend's fault, those damned fiends." The pen falls onto the open notebook. "Let this Tushar Vishi become one with the eternal soul. Someone must avenge this warrior, and let all those sinners be condemned to hell." Junho thinks, "Thanks, I figured it out." The number of Luffy scales off players. Junho ponders on if he came with 3 others, it could have been easier. Just saying that makes me sick. Tushar thinks, as for this, Tushar grabs Tempest, determined to carry on Zaya's will. Tushar grabs Tempest, "I'll borrow it for a bit," he says. "It's not like I'm taking it as payment or anything." He vows to get revenge on the fiends. Junho, weakened, hears Ram's words, "Then see you." Ram has a connection to India. With Chapter 10 comes another step on Junho's journey to reclaim his past. Looking up at the Player Association building, someone exclaims, "You were right," while another retorts, "We didn't say a thing." An official presents newspapers and magazines, "But now the whole world knows, I told you." Junho is annoyed and questions the need for an in-person meeting. The official chuckles, showing him newspapers and magazines. He explains that the Indian government wants to thank him. Someone comforts a crying person, relaying, "Their families have been informed." Relief washes over Junho, "Really, that's good." Junho acknowledges the Indian government's gift. The official is leaving the newspapers and asks, "What is it?" He says, "Tempest was created as a weapon for national defense." Junho responds, remembering it was in Tushar's inventory. He says, "Here, take a look." As Junho hands him the diary, the official looks surprised. He stares, bewildered, and shouts, "Are you crazy?" The official shouts about Tempest, calling Junho crazy. Junho shrugs it off, casually saying, "I'm just borrowing it." The official holds his head in frustration. He asks, "What'll you say then that Tushar transferred it?" The official is frustrated, thinking they believe Tempest is gone. Junho looks down at his hands, confused by the statement. An official theorizes the fiend will be attracted by it. He confirms Tushar died inside. Someone reveals he was after the bow. Far away, someone believes Junho has seen the news but thinks he's too smart to believe it. Someone thinks he's crazy. Someone scoffs at Junho's willingness to give Tempest away. He muses, "There's one guy I can think of." Another poster appears, "Wanted dead or alive, Demon Bocal Signer." Someone says he's famous, even the other fiends talk about him. Someone notices he's now wanted worldwide thanks to Junho. Another claims he couldn't have gone to Luffy's garden himself. A cloaked figure thinks, "To catch me at the next uncleared gate." Someone thinks the figure is getting stronger. The cloaked figure asks, "Do you think I'll be easy prey?" Junho replies, "Of course not." The official pats Junho on the shoulder, expressing, "I still wish you'd keep yourself safe." Someone wonders who he thinks he is. Junho confidently asserts that he is the one and only Seo Junho. Patting the official's shoulder, he tells him not to worry too much. The official sighs, "Geez, you haven't changed one bit." Junho responds, chuckling, "Well, I'm still me." The official's bracelet beeps, revealing, "Yes, this is Shim Deokgu." Junho apologizes and declines the request. The official orders to send the reporters back, complaining, "The reporters are gathering like flies to manure." Junho asks, "What is it?" Junho wonders why they are coming. The official, Shim Deokgu, says not to send them away. Junho claims if they're fighting fiends, they should choose the battlefield. Junho wants a press conference, seemingly unconcerned with the fallout. News reports label him Player Seo Junho of the association. He cleared the Curse of Dawn, his first gate. Some think Korea could create another star player. Regardless, he has a talent for attracting attention, shining brightly. Reporters exclaim that he's coming, snapping photos. Shim Deokgu wonders what the commotion is about. Bare feet in sandals shuffle. Junho tilts his head, confused by the sudden attention. The crowd wonders if he's really the player. Someone wonders if he walked into the press conference by accident. Junho thinks he should have changed clothes. Junho announces to the press he is Seo Junho and will hold a conference. Someone wants to know about the gates. Questions fly at Junho, focusing on his choice of gates and his initial experience. He simply declares, "Let's start with Curse of Dawn." Those watching Junho recognize his calm demeanor. They realize he's been in similar, stressful situations before. Junho takes one last question. Someone asks what gate he plans on going to next. He responds, "Nope." Someone questions, "Where would that be?" Junho confidently states, "The Eastern Sea Gate." Junho is blinded by camera flashes as he approaches the microphone. What? Chapter 11 begins the return of the frozen player, Junho. The board questions Junho about his plans for the East Sea Gate. It's the last one in Korea. Junho agrees to the presence of a boss monster. Another person is surprised by this information. Someone then asks if he has anything to say. The association is considering declaring the East Sea Gate a rank 1 gate. Another wonders if this is too extreme. The monsters are immensely powerful. Some even take other monsters as servants. Junho smiles with confidence. "If I fight a boss monster, I'll win." The man notes the fuss about Junho is interesting coming from the first floor. He asks if they want him to contact Junho. He replies, "Nope, I'm not that interested yet, far from that." The man drops a sugar cube into his coffee, but I think they should wait for the third time. The man understands that if Junho keeps going, he will bring another miracle. The leader of Korea's top guild, Goblin Shin Sung-hyun, personally invites him, but he refuses. The man discusses the potential benefits of taking on specific requests, good EXP drops and a payout. The man believes giving up is an option. His boss refutes it, declaring this commission will be his first impression. He pulls out another request. "How about this one?" Junho claims he almost died fighting a Cinder Fox. The boss reveals their next target, the Heavenly Fox Gate. The agents discuss the new request, Burning Dunes. It appeared 3 months ago. The two men at the table believe it won't be too hard for Junho. "But I believe in you," Junho says. "All right, time to see this junior's skills." They agree on the request, Burning Dunes. Turns out it's a friend's request. "Who?" he asks. The door opens and a woman walks in. She is wearing heels and a white shirt. She addresses the room, "President, you wanted to see me." The president welcomes Cha Se-yoon, announcing she will be Junho's new secretary and manager. Junho thinks it would be weird if the president kept doing everything for him. The president wants Junho to work closely with Cha Se-yoon in the future. "Then, you two should get going. I expect great results." Cha Se-yoon explains Myungho Group's status and reputation to Junho as they drive. The road ahead is clear. But tragedy struck. Choi Pil-ho's eldest daughter suffers from Nine Yin severance syndrome. Nine Yin severance syndrome appears in people with high yin energy. A cure requires high yang energy. Junho gazes at a familiar building. "It looks exactly the same," he says, recognizing this as Choi's home. Junho is asked if he has been to this house before. He admits it has been a while. Se-yoon tells Junho to wait outside. She wants to check something first. Choi Pil-ho greets Junho at the entrance. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I have been waiting." Se-yoon is surprised. He came in person. Junho is greeted with much fanfare. Choi Pil-ho is thankful for Junho's arrival and shakes his hand. Junho is surprised. Choi Pil-ho clasps Junho's hands tightly, his grip trembling. Junho looks on, a sense of determination in his eyes. Pil-ho pleads, "It's my only wish. Please, save my dear Hee-sun." Choi Pil-ho bows his head low while still clutching Junho's hands tightly. The wretched disease. Chapter 12 starts. Junho is ready for what comes next in this series. Junho decides to get straight to the point. They need a Cinder Fox's core. Choi Pil-ho offers Junho a whopping 15 billion won, plus any equipment needed for the Burning Dunes Gate. The fee is indeed premium. Junho politely declines Choi Pil-ho's offer, shocking him and his secretary. Choi Pil-ho increases his offer. 25, "No, I'll give you 30 billion, he announces. Junho calmly refuses, stating, 10 billion is more than enough. The secretary looks on, confused by his decision. Choi Pil-ho is curious as to why Junho declined the offer. He remembers a previous client, a French commissioner, willing to give everything. Spectre only accepted 100 million. Junho says, "You shouldn't take advantage of someone who wants to save their family." Junho tells Cha Se-yoon that he will park the car. He tells her to go ahead. Cha Se-yoon replies, "Understood." Junho explains that Shim Deokgu, the association president, was Spectre's close friend. Choi Pilho asks if Cha Si-yoon believes the story. She states he is warm-hearted. Cha Si-yoon thinks Junho is warm-hearted and her belief is further affirmed. Spectre saw his parents die before him. Junho continues, someone who couldn't save their family wouldn't want others to experience the same pain. He pauses, then chuckles, well, no one knows except him. Choi Pilho asks how was Ms. Cha Si-yoon. He is seen walking down the hall with Junho. Choi Pilho mentions, you'll soon come to appreciate her true worth. Choi Pilho, clearly annoyed, accuses Junho of changing the subject because he is embarrassed. Junho, unfazed, activates a holographic map, then states what needs to be done to take down a Cinder Fox. Choi Pilho says, you should take something useful with you. Choi Pilho mentions that they have made weapons from unimaginable materials, which have changed the very traditions of the players. He gestures towards a sword on display. Choi Pilho suggests, try using magic on the sword. Junho grabs the sword and it starts glowing with a dark aura. Choi Pilho explains that even a bit of magic will create an artificial Kai sword. It can even pierce orc hides. Choi Pilho, confused, asks if they only use these kinds of weapons. He gestures to a magic wand. He mentions that these days players like to use magic bombs. Choi Pilho states that the weapons are efficient and rankers use them. Junho replies that the weapons are no different from toys. Junho finds himself in front of something far more powerful. He thinks, these will be useless. Junho knows that he will need a weapon that is strong enough against monsters who can tear apart a player's magic. Deokgu asks why weaker monsters appear in the lower levels. The system is fair in how it works. Junho states that one needs to grow by facing similar statted opponents. This way, they earn experience and strength for tougher fights. Junho replies, oh, is that so? He seems unimpressed with the selection of weapons displayed nearby. Junho picks up a sword, curious about the weapon's qualities. Choi Pilho explains it was tossed aside. Junho exclaims, real lie, the perspective shifts. An unknown man appears to be dodging and falling back. He looks at the weapons on display with a shocked expression and thinks. Junho thinks that the world has really become fun. Toys hinder growth. The scene shifts to security cameras under a bright, clear sky. Someone is keeping an eye on the protagonist. A large crowd of reporters and players gather near the gate. Excitement and anticipation fill the air. Everyone's excited about the Cinder Fox's core. A party of 27, including Junho, will enter the gate. Some of the participants are sent by guilds. Junho drinks his coffee. This is good. Cha Si-yoon mentions Jun-ho will need another cup when he returns. She also notes that he needs to wake up earlier. She thinks they'll have more commission requests. His eyes glint with determination as he prepares to enter the burning dunes. Chapter 13 begins, with Jun-ho looking determined as he faces his future. Jun-ho is bombarded with questions as he enters burning dunes, the gate swarming with other hopeful players. The crowd questions Jun-ho's abilities, scrutinizing his gear. Jun-ho ignores them and declares the interview's over, telling himself to get ready. Jun-ho steals himself surrounded by the hopefuls. He ignores them. A gate opens before him, swirling with energy. It's time to head into burning dunes. It's 11:28 a.m. at the burning dunes gate entrance. Jun-ho takes his first step into the scorching sands. The players struggle in the desert heat of burning dunes, questioning their ability to fight. Another player shouts for their attention. As Jun-ho stands surrounded, one player steps forward. He confidently announces himself, "Let me introduce myself. The Chungki Guild is here today. They say elites only go to the burning dunes gate." The hooded man speaks up. The Chungki Guild offers 10 million to followers. However, they intend to keep the Cinder Fox's core for themselves. Everyone is shocked. The hooded man quickly accepts the Chungki Guild's offer for the Cinder Fox's core, surprising everyone. Ignoring the Chungki offer, others call out, hoping to join Jun-ho in the burning dunes gate. Another player calls out to Jun-ho, asking him to join their party. Jun-ho looks at him and replies, "I'm planning to go alone." One of the Chungki members brushes off Jun-ho's decision. Jun-ho retorts, asking why they'd assume he's concerned. He declares, "Let's get ready." Jun-ho steps forward into the harsh desert of burning dunes, leaving footprints in the scorching sand. The Cinder Fox is a boss monster with 9 tails. It is a monster. The more tails the Cinder Fox has, the more Fire Fox soldiers it controls. Jun-ho wonders how many this one commands. Jun-ho says, "For now I have to scout out a good spot." Suddenly a face appears, eyes wide and alarmed. The ground shakes as sand explodes into the air, revealing the form of a Fire Fox soldier. As the sand explodes, a hail of Fire Fox soldiers descends upon the players. A leader yells, "Don't panic, follow our lead." There's 30. The foxes are upon them. The players at the rear are clearly shaken. Chaos erupts from this sudden attack. Jun-ho yells now as a glowing magic circle appears around his feet. What's happening here? The Chungki Guild member activates a device. With a powerful surge, the Fire Fox soldiers teleport nearby. As the Fire Fox soldier gets close, an eerie blue light emanates. It's a teleportation skill, KAAK. As the Chungki members complete the teleport, they watch. Have they succeeded? Did it work? Jun-ho smirks, "Watch carefully, you monsters." He acknowledges their tech, saying it's different than old, sloppy tricks. The players shout as they defeat more Fire Fox soldiers. "We've dealt with more than half." Jun-ho urges, "If you have time to talk, attack." A Chungki member declares it's nothing thanks to the guild. Another is taken by surprise by the Fire Fox ambush. The Chungki Guild member wonders, "Why is it so dark?" He turns and a chilling sight fills his eyes. A player screams, "It's the Cinder Fox." A cloud of dust and shadows erupts around them. The Cinder Fox brutally slaughters the players. Eyes glowing, the beast stands ready for more. The boss for Burning Dunes has appeared, the Cinder Fox. It has 9 tails. The players are in disbelief. The Cinder Fox has 9 tails. They remember Spectre barely beat a 6-tailed version. Despite the Cinder Fox's power, players believe the Chungki Guild's support will help. Jun-ho thinks differently though. He recalls, "Stabbing its heart and head will kill it." Jun-ho's prepared a trap. The Cinder Fox roars, "If you're caught, you won't be able to escape." Jun-ho smiles, "I'll kill the Cinder Fox today and surpass Spectre." The Cinder Fox opens its mouth, releasing a blast of intense flames. Time to run. This is the title page of the manhwa, Return of the Frozen Player. The Fire Fox soldiers continue their assault, leaving many players slain. The Chungki Guild members are falling one by one. All the traps and weapons are failing against the Cinder Fox. The Cinder Fox towers over the fallen players. One of the surviving players cries, "How are we supposed to hunt this monster?" The screen reads, "It's impossible." The player accepts his fate. "So this is how I die." A fiery explosion engulfs the players as the Cinder Fox prepares to attack. One player on the ground recognizes Junho. Another player shouts, "What are you doing? Get out of the way." Junho says, "I'll be fine," as a fiery ball launches from the Cinder Fox towards him. The Cinder Fox unleashes its attack. Junho yells, "Gah, this is the end." Junho is struck by the fiery blast. However, he quickly counters with his blade. Junho reflects they were doomed from the start. Meanwhile, the Fiends are healing others, asking if this is enough. Junho smirks and says, "Take the survivors and go." A nearby player asks about Junho's intentions. Junho declares, "I'll be taking care of this guy. Is he strong enough?" The monster's power surges. It prepares to attack Junho with its claws. The Cinder Fox roars, unleashing more fiery attacks. A player shouts, "Team leader, come on." Another player replies, "Go." Junho watches the other players leave. He smirks, now that the stragglers are gone. Junho smiles, ready to fight the beast. The Cinder Fox bares its fangs and prepares its next fiery attack. The clash is immense. The Cinder Fox's fiery blast and Junho's sword collide. The Cinder Fox unleashes a torrent of fire. Junho counters with his frost skill. Junho thinks, "As I thought, it won't let me get close." The Cinder Fox is enraged, amping up its fiery assault. It unleashes a burning inferno upon Junho. Junho's eyes widen as he realizes the full power of the attack. Giant Flame Blast. The Giant Flame Blast explodes. Junho stands far away, barely dodging the massive inferno, but is he safe? The battlefield is engulfed in flames. The Cinder Fox stands tall, its power immense and overwhelming. The Cinder Fox lunges with blinding speed, claws extended and ready to strike Junho. A destructive shockwave emits from the Cinder Fox's mouth. Junho prepares for another devastating attack. Junho blocks the flames, but the impact sends him flying back. He grunts in pain as he's launched into the air. Junho is struck once more with a blast. The Cinder Fox is strong. Then Junho thinks, what if the number decreases? His sword crackles with energy, ready to strike again. A blinding flash of light engulfs the area. Is this Junho's last stand? Junho dashes forward to close the gap, his sword aimed towards the Cinder Fox. Junho smirks at the Cinder Fox. He says, obviously, its strength will also decrease. With his sword at the ready, Junho is prepared to face the burning dunes. The burning dunes gate glows ominously. Outside a player size, it's been 10 hours since they entered. A man is struck for lasting 2 days. Other people pray near the burning dunes gate. The Cinder Fox bares its fangs, preparing to strike with icy flames. The Cinder Fox mocks Junho, who only hunted players. Did he expect this? Junho strikes the Cinder Fox, but it's too fast. The Cinder Fox counters with an icy fire blast. The icy fire blasts towards Junho. He wonders aloud, where are you looking? Junho braces for impact as the Cinder Fox's attack closes in. The Cinder Fox's attack was too fast, striking Junho. Multiple flames erupt from the earth. The Cinder Fox strikes Junho with more icy flames. Junho quickly counters with his Kai sword. Junho's strike lands on the Cinder Fox. Blood spurts from the fox as it is launched backwards from the force of the attack. The Cinder Fox roars, its power rising. The fiery aura intensifies, signaling a dangerous surge of energy. The Cinder Fox smiles cruelly, wondering why Junho struggles, knowing his fate. Junho prepares his frost ability. The Cinder Fox's attack strikes Junho, the beast declaring it's too late. The Cinder Fox's power is immense. Junho is sent flying backwards and coughs up saliva. He wonders how he can defeat this beast. Junho lies on the ground, defeated. A notification states he received Cinder Fox's core. Outside, the onlooking players are shocked. They exclaim, no way, they really cleared it. Someone watching Junho exclaims, it only took them 13 hours. The gate glows green as players exit. The first player to emerge is Cha Minwoo of the Chenghe Guild, carrying another player. Medics rush to help the injured players being carried out of the burning dunes gate. A hooded figure is being interviewed. After first aid, they ask about going to the hospital. Junho refuses, seemingly recovered. Player Cha Minwoo is bombarded with questions. Reporters ask about his experience, the Cinder Fox's tales, and the dungeon's difficulty. He thinks he needs to give an explanation. Someone wonders if his name is the top keyword, asking how he feels. Junho thinks, so this is how it feels. Someone ponders how praise can be addicting even if misdirected. An instructor directs Minwoo to present first. A young boy dreams of being a hero like Spectre. He wants to grow up strong. Surrounded by flashing cameras, Cha Minwoo reflects. He decides he'll explain what truly happened inside the burning dunes. Junho slowly opens his eyes, finding himself in a hospital room. Someone asks, "Are you awake?" Secretary Cha smiles as she visits Junho. It's 6 a.m. at Hanguk Hospital. Junho sits up in bed and tells her, "I feel fine." Secretary Cha informs Junho she reviewed new requests. He gets out of bed and wonders aloud to see President Choi Pil-ho. She's shocked by this. Secretary Cha worries that Junho is still not fully recovered. He replies he simply used all his energy and fainted. The chapter begins. Junho stands ready, about to embark on his next mission. The Player Association president is grateful for Junho's visit, but voices concerns. He heard Junho fainted inside the gate. Junho brushes his hair and chuckles, attempting to play off his exhaustion. Choi Pil-ho ignores Junho's words and continues, "This is my daughter's room." The door creaks open. Junho's hand is shown with an IV drip. Is he still weak? Junho sees Hee-sun asleep in bed, hooked up to IVs. She's in a worse state than I expected. Junho rummages through his inventory. He grabs the Cinder Fox's core and yells out in surprise. Junho realizes the Cinder Fox's core emits dangerous heat. He asks Choi Pil-ho to wait outside. Choi Pil-ho worries about his daughter. Choi Pil-ho assures Junho that he knows a safe method, thanks to Shim Deokgu. Junho agrees. A strong grip seals their pact. Choi Pil-ho clasps Junho's hands, begging him to save his daughter. "It won't take long," Junho reassures him. Junho sees Hee-sun hooked up to an IV, looking worse than he expected. "She's worse than the patient I cured in the past." Junho thinks he'll use the Cinder Fox's heat to melt the ice spell. "I can absorb it with Frost skill." Junho realizes his Frost skill has no weaknesses and can raise magic stats. Junho realizes even Watchguard of Darkness couldn't do this. He wonders if absorbing the skill will increase his stats. Junho thinks the situation will definitely be worth checking out. He focuses on treating Hee-sun's Nine Yin severance syndrome. Junho, brimming with resolve, declares, "Let's do it in one push," as energy surges. Junho recalls using the Cinder Fox's Yang energy to break a spell as Spectre. He laments that it was harsh on the patient. This time, he can do better. Junho smiles as he absorbs the Yin energy from Hee-sun's body. "I'm not expelling it, just balancing it out." This is much safer than using the core, Junho thinks, determined to help. Hee-sun is alert, muttering in surprise, while Choi Pil-ho is still in pain. It seems like the energy has startled them, but something's changed. Choi Pil-ho anxiously asks about his daughter's condition. Junho wipes the sweat from his brow. It was a success. Choi Pil-ho's face is shown, tears welling in his eyes. Did it really work? He wonders about his daughter. Junho is being driven, reflecting on his successful completion of the commission. "I was able to wrap up this commission nicely." Junho expresses his gratitude. Cha Si-yoon pauses. "I thought about how I should repay you." Choi Pil-ho admits he considered compensating Junho further. Ultimately, he says Junho's word is enough for him. Cha Si-yoon elaborates on her gratitude. Myungho Group will assist Junho in any way possible. Myungho Group is Korea's #1 company. Although their direct influence is limited, Choi Pil-ho's son leads Scarlet Tower. Choi Pil-ho promises to be careful not to harm Myungho's reputation. Junho says with a chuckle, "Just say the word." Choi Pil-ho is relieved his daughter's feeling better. Junho says it's just light muscle pain. "I leveled up a lot." Junho pulls up the inventory screen, then says they should get to the point. Choi Pil-ho exclaims, "Is that the Cinder Fox's core?" Junho states that he absorbed Yin energy with Frost skill and it even boosted his magic stats. "The system told me so." Junho realizes he can absorb energy from items. "I found something good." Junho realizes that the Nine Yin severance syndrome's energy level is intermediate, and wonders about the effect of absorbing items. Junho understands and replies that he'll check out the player market. Chapter 17 of Return of the Frozen Player begins. His journey continues. Junho arrives at the player market, an offline market with worldwide locations to gather information. Junho reflects on how much in Sadong has changed since the gates appeared. He notices more people and businesses. Junho smirks. He has business with the black market, not the player market. It seems he's after something specific. The movie screen displays the phrase, "Everything's freezing." The movie theater has a special seat that teleports to the black market. The teleport skill is so shitty. A woman calls out, "Hey Spectre, I'll use my magic instead." Below, Junho looks hopeful. Junho sits in the special theater seat which glows brightly. He says, "I can see you guys again soon." Junho arrives in the Ethiopia underground city, the location for the black market. The atmosphere is unlike the normal player market. He gets caught staring. People yell, "You bastard, what are you looking at?" Junho is startled and apologizes. Amidst hushed whispers, people are discussing the missing Kim Woo-jung and the hidden Spectre. The underground world is abuzz. Junho thinks to himself that the black market is not completely safe. He doubts he'll find anyone who can threaten him. Stronger players have gone to the frontier. The whispers around him reveal that weak players stay behind or fail to ascend. Junho scoffs, "Move, if they're only at that level I can handle them." A large man stares silently as Junho passes him. Junho remarks with a smile, "Well, that was easy." He blends into the black market crowd. The man at the counter stares, dumbfounded. "Oh, what's this? A celebrity is visiting," Junho says. "I've come to look at artifacts." The man gestures to a shelf full of artifacts. Junho thinks, "I didn't expect much from this place." Junho exclaims that he's hit the jackpot. The items have cold and yin energy, one has frost energy. Junho overhears that the best artifacts are not on display. The counter man yells, surprised, "That's not true." Junho's grin widens at the revelation. A shady hand dangles a golden pendant. "Just let me take a peek. I'll buy some items and keep your secret." Junho presses the button. The door makes a click sound as it unlocks. "Come in." The man shows off his wares. "These are all of our best artifacts." Junho spots an artifact with an ice attribute exciting him. The counter man yells, stopping him, "Don't touch it." He explains that the artifact is cursed to freeze the user's body over time. The counter man gasps. Junho realizes he senses the same level of frost energy as Hee-sun's illness. "I can get the same magic amount as last time." Junho says, "I'll buy this and the artifacts from before." The man stutters, "Thank you." A voice demands, "Please teleport me to the Insadong market in Korea and give me anything to drink." He needs something specific from the player market. The broker tells the customer the teleportation wait time is 10 minutes. Junho is at the player market. "Hey." A group of shady figures surrounds Junho. "Look who it is, Seo Junho." Junho thinks this isn't a place to linger. The broker sniffs. He hasn't heard of Bloodblade Kim Cheol-soo. Players try to gain status in cowardly ways. The large man who was staring at Junho appears to attack him. He warns, "Your Sunbi is talking to you." The group shouts at Junho to respect them as they keep the streets safe. Junho smirks, unimpressed by their posturing. The men surrounding Junho are laughing, looking down on him. What is with this crazy bastard? They don't know his power. Junho scoffs, asking if they call keeping the streets safe what they're doing. He calls them leeches preying on the weak. The man's face contorts in anger, yelling, "And put your name in tabloid newspapers, is it not, you bastard?" The man declares, "I'll also feel better after beating up thugs like you." Junho, known as the Frozen Player, is on a quest for power. Murmurs fill the air as people recognize Junho. "Isn't that the rumored Seo Junho?" Someone whispers, "If he fails, the newspapers will go crazy." An older player scoffs at others ganging up on Junho. Junho smirks, confident, all that matters is the battle's outcome. As Junho prepares for teleportation, others plot his downfall. "He will fall at our hands," the Gangnam Trio. Junho's opponent lunges forward, declaring, "That's more than enough time to play around." He steps forward, blade ready, declaring, "I am the life-severing lance of the Gangnam Trio." The approaching player questions Junho, "Hey, what's with that dagger? I thought you were a sword user." Junho smirks, "I don't need a sword to squash bugs." The enemy shouts, "You bastard," as he throws a kick towards Junho. Junho is hit by a swift kick. He quickly recovers his balance, gripping his dagger tightly. He prepares for the next attack from the Gangnam Trio. The life-severing lance slams his weapon forward. The attack connects directly with Junho. The Gangnam Trio are shocked to see the successful attack. Blood splatters, confirming the hit. The life-severing lance is in shock and defeated. Junho lays on the ground, wounded and bleeding from the eyes. Ga, Kyuk. The life-severing lance smirks. "That idiot, he fell for such an obvious feint. Can you block this?" He yells as he launches a barrage of projectiles. Amidst shattered glass, Junho swiftly rises, a cold fire in his eyes. "Come at me, fucker," the attacker yells. The life-severing lance presses his attack, energy blades clashing against Junho's dagger with immense force. Someone states that Junho is inexperienced and has never killed anyone. The life-severing lance taunts Junho with an evil smirk. "Ha, now you understand the difference between us." Junho coughs as the life-severing lance raises his blade with a terrifying yell. He's got Junho where he wants him. With the barrage deflected, Junho stands tall above the crumpled form of the life-severing lance. The life-severing lance wonders, what just happened? A member of the Gangnam Trio lies defeated. The remaining member struggles to comprehend their defeat. He's just a rookie. The life-severing lance can't believe Junho is still standing. A voice echoes, "It's not over yet," during Spectre's generation. Junho had an ability to read their breath, which let him decimate enemies. Junho deflects the life-severing lance's attacks with a barrage of his own. Shards of energy fly everywhere. The defeated life-severing lance looks up in shock, Junho looming over him. Junho sneers, "Your breathing is so obvious." A massive explosion erupts as Junho's dagger clashes against the life-severing lance's blade. The surrounding area is showered in blood. From the fallen life-severing lance comes a final desperate cry of pain, "Goo." Junho stands over the defeated life-severing lance covered in blood. "I won't see you around, right?" The life-severing lance is defeated and begging for his life. "We won't even look at your shadow." Gasps echo around the arena. "The newbie won against 3 seasoned players," someone exclaims. "Contact the reporters." With others watching, the narrator reflects on the current state of the world. People now kill for selfish desires. Echoing in Junho's mind are the words, "Suppress your emotions," or "Go crazy with them." He stands on the teleportation pad. With the battle concluded, Junho teleports away. He disappears in a flash of light, leaving the arena behind. Despite the victory, Junho is pensive. He stares distantly, a melancholic aura surrounding him. "I miss my friends," he whispers, a hint of sadness in his eyes. Inside a car, a blonde man watches a video of Junho's fight. "He far exceeds my personal expectations, but..." Inside the car, an unfamiliar figure speaks. "What are your thoughts, princess?" Junho readies for battle, entering the next chapter of his journey. Someone shouts at Junho, who is annoyed with taking pictures for a girl. People swarm Junho, shouting at him. He thinks he won't go home until nighttime. A woman walks up to Junho, asking if they can talk. Junho's bodyguard stands watch. Junho realizes this is bright orange hair and a strong heat energy. The woman insists she's normal, presenting her card. Junho smirks, already knowing who she is. Junho thinks being scouted feels good. The woman suggests they talk at a cafe and Junho accepts. Junho exits the building, feeling sweaty and hating the need for a mask and sunglasses. He questions his fire abilities. The woman states, "That's the problem, I like cold things." A bodyguard brings her an iced chocolate. Junho ponders, "So, what does the Dakibai Guild want with me?" She says the Vice Master ordered her to scout him directly, since going through official channels takes too long. She admits, "I was planning to decide after meeting you and you pass." Junho acknowledges he is the super rookie. He thinks no one is close to his level. The woman says he's heard about the market. The woman mentions, "I enjoyed it, you're good at fighting." She then asks about his skill. She takes a sip of her drink, telling him to think about it. Joining Dakibai offers many great skill books and a training course. Junho reads that the Dakibai Guild has great benefits and resources with high salaries. That's why strong players join them. The woman asks if it would be better for him to join Dakibai Guild. She states they have more information. She confidently declares that he'll not refuse. Junho responds, "I respectfully decline," surprising her. The woman is shocked. Junho thinks about the offer. Joining Dakibai means honor and riches, but nothing is free. The woman questions if he understood her offer, knowing Dakibai Guild's offers are great. Junho looks expectant. She explains the idiom, better to be a snake's head than a dragon's tail. She understands Junho's reasoning, thinking it would take too long to climb. She thinks a place for elites will have fierce competition. Junho refuses again. She says there's nothing she can do. She says it's not like she can force him to join, giving personal advice to be careful. He asks if she's taking revenge. A figure watches the city from a rooftop, reporting, "The Fiends are a lot more active lately." Junho's cold demeanor states, "If you run into them without knowing and get attacked, I'll be disappointed." The woman thanks him and waves goodbye. Junho wonders if he should have joined the Dakibai, but figures they have no reason to lie. He's worried about the Fiends. The president muses that the Dakibai Guild's intel is even greater than theirs. He asks Junho if he regrets declining the offer, especially since Gong Juho went out of her way. Junho states that honor and money from joining Dakibai Guild don't interest him. The president is curious and asks if he wants him to leave. Junho says that's not the reason. The president tells Junho not to worry, he can do what he wants. His secretary is overjoyed and says they'll renew the contract tomorrow. The president continues, offering Junho an entire floor for his operations. He assures Junho that the player association's budget is substantial. He states that they should start wrapping things up. Junho fills out his application, writing his name and other information. He wonders which floor he should go to next. The president tells Junho to start packing for the East Sea Gate in a week. Junho explains he's setting a trap for the Fiends. Junho smirks, thinking to himself, that's how you catch a big fish. As Chapter 20 begins, Junho prepares to face the Fiends. News breaks that Junho will challenge the Eastern Sea Gate. If he succeeds, Korea will become the first safe zone. The player association is further solidifying their partnership with Junho. Junho stumbles through the darkness, the environment shifts around him. He feels weak, but he knows he has to keep moving. The Eastern Sea Gate opens before Junho, beckoning him forward. A dark figure responds, "You called for me." The mysterious figure identifies Junho as the one who possesses the Tempest. Is Junho about to face a new threat? The figure explains that the Tempest was hidden in Tushar Vishi's inventory and kept secret. He realizes Junho found evidence of a Fiend's involvement. The figure responds, "That's right, is there anyone left that we can use?" The others suggest the Shadow Brothers. The figure orders the Shadow Brothers to the Eastern Sea Gate. All that matters is Junho's demise. The Shadow Brothers are on their way, moving with incredible speed. Mountains crumble in their wake as they heed their master's call. The Fiend realizes that the one approaching is Sword Saint. Junho acknowledges the command, readying to move. The Sword Saint, Kim Woo-jung of the Nine Heavens, appears. Even as an archer, his reach falls short. The figure is enraged, feeling mocked. He can sense Seo Junho nearby. "I am Cal Siner." Cal Siner smirks, confident in his plan. He states, "We'll watch till your luck runs out." Cal Siner wonders if his plan is working. Meanwhile, Jun-ho suspects the American Shadow brothers are joining as medics, which he finds suspicious. Jun-ho prepares himself, his eyes glowing with determination. He says to himself, now, power surges around him, ready to be unleashed. What is Jun-ho planning? Jun-ho disappears in a surge of purple energy, leaving everyone in anticipation. He remembers Skaya's dangerous training method. I'll spread the energy to train my magic. Jun-ho touches the surge of energy with a smile. It's like it's saying hi. Jun-ho sees Island of the Forgotten Dragon. Dragons are known as powerful higher-class monsters. The goal is to defeat this dragon. He realizes the Nameless Dragon is too strong for beginners. Jun-ho sighs, he needs to either grab it or bring it down. Jun-ho looks at the file his secretary sent him, information on the Shadow brothers Vincent and Edvar. She's fast. The Shadow brothers are an American team, specializing in VIP escort missions with a special shadow skill. Cameras flash during an interview. Everyone feels Jun-ho's overflowing determination. At a press conference, they claim he's achieving the impossible with admiration. The Shadow brothers smirk, we would be honored to clear the final gate. Jun-ho smirks, looking at his phone, will I be able to use this? A seagull flies freely in the sky. A lone seagull flies over the Eastern Sea Gate. Trash piles against the fence as warnings scream, restricted area. It's the day of the raid at the Eastern Sea Gate. All eyes are on the event as national and international reporters gather to witness the impossible. Someone notes Jun-ho seems nervous, but Jun-ho insists that he is. The tension is rising and everyone feels it. Someone yells at Jun-ho for being distracted on his phone. Jun-ho nonchalantly replies, I'm not distracted or nervous. The figure inside the car informs Jun-ho that he will not be alone. The Shadow brothers arrive, seemingly partnered with the Fiends. Jun-ho acknowledges their strength and feels nervous. Jun-ho is uneasy, sensing danger and wanting to call off the raid. He asserts, I have a. Chapter 21 of Return of the Frozen Player is here, as the story continues. Jun-ho is greeted with enthusiasm by two players who express their admiration for his recent achievements. They're amazed by his strength. Jun-ho downplays his English skills, calling it no big deal. People are surprised he can speak English fluently. They are relieved that the Vita interpretation feature is working. Korea's final uncleared gate is their new objective. Jun-ho says he came prepared to do anything. Players from around the world exchange friendly greetings. Entering the gate is when the nervousness peaks. The unknown terrifies everyone. What awaits them so? Their senses sharpen upon entering a gate, yet risk looms as well. The group's vulnerability lies in their reaction time to attacks from behind. An enemy spots the weakness. The man shouts Edvar, surprised. Will they capitalize on this opening? It seems they're about to attack. Edvar pauses, realizing their weakness is a trick. He wonders if it is actually a trap. Vincent's eyes dart around nervously, sweat beading on his forehead. He is beginning to panic, a blue aura emanating from Jun-ho approaching behind him. But before they can, an armored figure exclaims, damn it, I missed a good chance. He thinks he knows who he sees. They look at an island floating in the distance. Disappointed, they state, we failed this time. Let's create another chance later. The party enters the gate. One player comments on the breeze while another wonders where the Nameless Dragon is. He sees no monsters. Another player asks Jun-ho if he sees anything. He thinks something's off about this place. They stop and gaze up. Is that a one-star gate? What could this mean for the Nameless Dragon? Edvar looks confused. He wonders what's going on. Vincent is looking at him and thinks, what is this guy doing? Something is definitely not right. The team feels a powerful and ominous presence. The Nameless Dragon has appeared. The Nameless Dragon's gaze burns with intense anger. Its massive, glowing eyes lock onto the party below, ready to attack. A player wonders aloud as they gaze upon the ethereal form in the sky. The Shadow brothers confirm the dragon's location and wonder about its size. One then ponders aloud how exactly they're going to hunt Seo-jun. The players are furious. "That bastard," one shouts, asking where Jun-ho has gone. The woman expresses disbelief at being unable to sense him. Distances close rapidly, they're moving faster now. The Nameless Dragon looms above Jun-ho and the others, crackling with energy. The Nameless Dragon descends. Streaks of energy crackle around it as it prepares to unleash a devastating attack on Jun-ho and his team. What will happen next? Suddenly, a blinding explosion erupts from above. The force throws one of the players back, scattering leaves and debris. What is happening? The man coldly demands, "All right, now tell me, you're working with the Fiends, aren't you?" Suddenly, icy spikes appear. He shouts in frustration. Summoning shadow soldiers, figures emerge from the green flames to fight against the party. As the dragon descends, another soldier shouts, urging Vincent to find Jun-ho. But is he okay? Someone shouts angrily, demanding to be brought Jun-ho. From the shadows, another figure responds with deference. The Nameless Dragon is preparing to attack. A booming voice echoes, taunting, "Over here, you worm." Meanwhile, someone stomps onto the ground with immense force. The panicked shadow soldier wonders when they last failed so badly. If this turns out like the Las Vegas auction. A figure notices the events transpiring. Who is that amidst the glowing forest, watching the battle unfold? Above, the smirking villain says Jun-ho is a novice for not hiding his aura. From afar, someone shouts for Jun-ho. Someone charges forward, a red glow emanating from their blade. He yells at them to not resist. Someone cuts through the green flames with a red shining sword. "This is," they question aloud, surprised at what they see. The man notes the darkness. "This should be my shadow skill's home turf." But something feels off. An ominous feeling hangs in the air as the leaves fall. With a determined look, Jun-ho appears and readies his kai sword for battle. The chapter begins with Spectre ready to unleash his frozen fury. A figure appears holding a knife surrounded by a strong magic aura. What's going on? It wondered. The figure reveals himself as a fiend. An intense battle suddenly begins. The fiend questions the name. Jun-ho scoffs at their poor attempt at acting innocent and identifying him. The fiend claims Jun-ho betrayed them first, justifying their actions. Jun-ho scoffs, pointing out the fiend's glowing red eyes. The fiend realizes Jun-ho noticed the telltale sign of their kind. Did I lose control of it? The fiend questions why Jun-ho seems unfazed. Jun-ho retorts, asking if he thought he'd run away scared. The fiend thinks to himself, that would be a cowardly way to lose. A barrage of green magic surrounds Jun-ho. The fiend revels in the power he now wields. It feels inexplicably exhilarating every time I use Magi. The fiend declares he'll start with Jun-ho's legs. Green magic impales Jun-ho. Even impaled, Jun-ho is still standing. The fiend's green magic continues to assault him. It seems like he can withstand the green magic. Jun-ho is impaled, but his expression is unyielding. The fiend's magic intensifies, creating an aura of night walking. The fiend is shocked as Jun-ho disappears from sight. "Where did you go?" he yells. The fiend reveals he was hiding his presence from the very start. "You." The fiend unleashes more magic. Jun-ho dodges the incoming attack, now moving with incredible speed. The fiend reveals that he's been improving his other senses after using Magi. The fiend says that he can smell a powerful magic aura nearby. What happens next? The fiend curses, the cloud cover preventing him from flying lower. He unleashes more magic toward where Jun-ho was. The shadow brother Vincent screams out Edvar's name in panic. He confronts the remaining figure, demanding to know where Jun-ho is. He realizes something is wrong. The fiend admits Jun-ho knew they were fiends. He rages, realizing Jun-ho hid his true strength. The shadow brother wonders how he escaped. Edvar realizes they fell for Jun-ho's trick, abandoning their previous plan. Vincent tells Edvar to focus on the battle. The figure states the need for someone to attack. He explains that the dragon is strong and hard to deal with. He mentions the reverse scale. Edvar declares he will now use his shadow movement technique to get higher. Suddenly, the Nameless Dragon descends. Edvar screams to dodge, as the Nameless Dragon unleashes a powerful blast of energy. The Nameless Dragon blasts powerful energy towards Edvar. Edvar barely avoids the incoming attack by using shadow movement technique. Edvar coughs up blood, realizing he's taken damage and lost his shadow soldiers. Vincent cries out in desperation, calling out to him. The fiend, bleeding, urges Edvar to focus on their goal, to forget about him. Edvar grunts in acknowledgement. Junho faces the overwhelming green magic. The fiend continues his relentless assault. Junho manages to avoid most of the attack. The Nameless Dragon fires again, unleashing more powerful energy. Edvar moves using shadow movement technique to get higher. The Nameless Dragon descends further, closing the distance. Edvar expresses his frustration at missing his mark as the dragon flies lower. Edvar utilizes the shadow movement technique, ascending higher to reach the dragon's reverse scale. Can he succeed? Edvar sees the Nameless Dragon coming. Was it somewhere higher? He squints, still trying to find the reverse scale. Edvar sees the reverse scale on the Nameless Dragon. I found it, he shouts. Edvar is slammed against one of the dragon's scales. His body begins to break. Has the attack ended him? Edvar manages to strike the dragon's reverse scale, shouting, I did it. He stares in shock as the scale glows. No way is this. Vincent screams Edvar's name as the dragon's magic energy descends. Is Edvar still alive after that devastating attack? From afar, Junho watches Edvar's devastating attack on the Nameless Dragon. Those idiots, he mutters, knowing the battle has shifted. Junho is ready for his next challenge as the story continues. Junho witnesses the Nameless Dragon's power and cries out, what? The Shadow Brothers are struggling. Vincent is down. Edvar shouts in desperation, realizing the gravity of the situation. The Nameless Dragon roars. Its claws and head show its massive size. Junho notices the energy-based attack. He recalls hearing about the dragon's weak spot, the reverse scale. Beginners always make the same mistake. Knowing the reverse scale is the weak point is not enough. The dragon senses their presence and gets even more enraged. With the Shadow Brothers buying time, Junho prepares an attack of his own. Vincent cries out in desperation as Junho focuses. Junho is annoyed by his outcry and yells, don't talk, you'll break my focus. The Nameless Dragon's attacks continue relentlessly. Will it ever stop? Is the Nameless Dragon's main attack limitless? The Nameless Dragon unleashes a fierce attack. The Shadow Brothers can't defend against this much longer. The Shadow Brothers recognize the energy, realizing Junho is preparing something big. Vincent steels himself, understanding what they have to do, and clenches his fist. Junho realizes all three of them must work together to succeed. Edvar insists they must withdraw to survive. The Nameless Dragon's fierce attack is coming. Vincent chuckles, recognizing the opening they have created. Edvar taunts the dragon. Edvar notices the Shadow Brothers are running instead of fighting back. He realizes they are drawing the dragon's attention to him. It's all a mirage. The Shadow Brothers' magic circles appear and start attacking Junho. The purple energy surrounds him, aiming to bind him. The Shadow Brothers unleash a binding spell, attempting to restrain Junho with dark purple energy. The Shadow Brothers' binding spell shoots toward Junho, encasing him in energy. The Shadow Brothers' magic on Junho dissipates. He asks if he should go after the others now. A Shadow Brother realizes Junho stopped attacking. Someone says, look at that. One of the Shadow Brothers questions Junho's change of tactics. Junho calmly responds with a hint of smugness. Junho is surprised by the energy attack. He cries out, what? The dragon's power is more than he imagined. The Nameless Dragon's attack continues. Its purple energy blasts the area again. The Nameless Dragon attacks with massive force. The Shadow Brothers are getting pushed back by the onslaught. The Shadow Brothers are shocked by Junho's power. Suddenly, spears of ice rise from the ground. He asks if they are impressed. Junho realizes Tempest has a great synergy with his abilities. Now I get Calciner's obsession. The Shadow Brothers offer a deal, information in exchange for their freedom. Junho coldly refuses negotiations. One of the Shadow Brothers is down. They declare that they won't go down so easily. Edvar is enraged, bloodied, and struggling. Junho looks on with anticipation, realizing his plan is coming together. Junho's frost skill makes contact. Blue energy explodes as he hits the shadow brother. Vincent is bleeding and barely conscious. Edvar screams out in horror and despair, "Vincent!" Junho and Edvar clash in a fist fight. Edvar yells, "You bastard!" with rage and desperation. Energy blades pierce the air. Vincent coughs up blood as he's held by Edvar, wondering how did. With Vincent defeated, Edvar hears a cold voice state, "If an afterlife exists." Chapter 24 begins as the return of the frozen player continues. Junho is surprised and wonders how. He defeats a foe and is ready for the next one. The Nameless Dragon roars in agony. Junho sees the perfect opportunity to strike while the Shadow Brothers stall. Junho leaps high, plunging his sword into the Nameless Dragon's reverse scale. The dragon roars in pain and looks at Junho, confused. The Nameless Dragon says his last words. His body disintegrates into nothing. The Nameless Dragon disintegrates after his final breath. Junho lands on the ground, the fight finally over. The screen shows you have defeated the Forgotten Dragon. The fight has ended. Junho sees he has leveled up twice and receives dragon bones as a reward. Junho thinks he will look at dragon bones later. He wants to test a skill. Junho touches the corpse. "It lets me see the memories of dead life forms. Now confess," he whispers. Junho recalls Vincent's memories using Confession of the Dead as it begins. Junho looks into Vincent's memories and is surprised by what he sees. He thinks, "Oh ho, it's like this, it's like a movie." Junho looks at Vincent's memories as if watching a movie, noting its unique features. "Let's see. Search, show me the most recent memories," he thinks. Suddenly, Junho cries out in shock as something unexpected happens in Vincent's memories. In Vincent's memory, someone asks, "Why are you doing this to me?" Suddenly, Junho cries out in pain. The memories escalate into a disturbing scene of violence and terror. "Stop," a voice pleads from the depths. Junho sighs, "Tusk, I sent them off too easily." He uses search again. Suddenly, Junho is pulled from the memories. He finds himself back at the entrance of Jim's Cleaners. The memory shifts, showing Vincent ironing clothes. Suddenly, a sinister voice demands, "It's an order, join the rookie player." Vincent's memories show a conversation. They were preparing for a Las Vegas auction. It's where they got orders. Junho realizes Jim's Cleaners is a known spot for the Fiend Association. "Is there anything else I can use?" Junho is surprised. Who their brothers? He sees the fallen Shadow Brothers on the ground and adds, "I like the look in their eyes." Junho smirks, "I'll turn them into second-grade items." Vincent reaches out, a mysterious voice echoing, "I shall give you power." Junho's eyes widen in shock. Junho collapses, the skill deactivates and reveals the last moment was too much. That last scene, who was that? Junho realizes he needs more info and wants to level up his skill. He realizes his skill isn't just for humans. Junho observes the dead monster, a ridiculously powerful being that can't even compare to the Cinder Fox. Junho decides to use Confession of the Dead again. This time he demands, "Show me what kind of being you were." As Junho is pulled out of Vincent's memory, the scene shifts to a time of peace. "This is," he questions. The scene cuts to a different time. "A peaceful reign, you say, we know better." The scene cuts to Vincent, surprised. "What does a peaceful reign matter?" the memory asks. The scene transitions to Vincent bowing before Your Majesty. Vincent's memories depict someone looking over a vast landscape, thinking about protecting his people with a Shinryong. The memory shows the Emperor wanting to be the dragon. Someone yells at his decision to reject Samsara. A bird soars against a backdrop of bright skies. "Is that not my destiny?" Junho is shocked, processing the memories. He realizes the Nameless Dragon was Manhwa of Silla. The memories shift again, revealing information. Junho sees a notice appear. He thinks, "I just killed an ancestor." A voice echoes, "This land is safe now, rest well." Junho observes the silent and empty battlefield. The scene shifts to the battlefield. Junho stands amidst the dispersing golden light. Above, the dragon's spirit lingers, its light fading. Junho looks on, dazed and confused. As the Nameless Dragon fades, a message appears. "You have cleared the hidden mission." Junho is surprised. Clearing the hidden quest gave him a unique item, the Flute of Tidal Breath. Junho reflects, maybe helping Vincent wasn't such a bad mistake. The East Sea Gate is cleared, but people murmur. Junho emerged alone. What happened to the Shadow Brothers? The crowd murmurs in disbelief about the Shadow Brothers' fate, but the screen lights up. East Sea Gate cleared. A box vanishes in a flash of light. Junho says, "The reason I came out alone." Junho cries, blaming himself for the Shadow Brothers' death. He remembers they got lost inside the gate's maze. Junho thinks, when I found my way out of the maze, the Nameless Dragon killed them. Images of the Shadow Brothers flash before Junho's eyes. Their sacrifice weighs heavily on his mind. Someone curses Junho's luck. A subordinate asks Cal Siner about the Vegas auction. Cal Siner blames himself for the Shadow Brothers' death. Cal Siner tells his subordinate to push it off for now, because the executives only care about the results. The order is given, send the watchdogs to the Las Vegas auction no matter the cost. Junho calls for Secretary Cha regarding some documents. He questions why the personal commissions are unorganized this time. Cha Si-yoon simply replies, "I did." Junho asks if the piles of documents are all personal commission requests. He's attracting attention. Junho downplays his contribution, but Secretary Cha notes luck is also a skill for players. Junho's secretary remarks, "I knew it, we should get your hair done." Junho is surprised by her comment. Cha Si-yoon presents Junho with profiles of current star players. Junho is one of them now. Cha Si-yoon confirms that Junho has a day off and presents a salon business card. Junho looks at the salon card. "I miss wearing a mask." Cha Si-yoon states Junho can leave early as he worked hard to organize the personal commissions. Junho is surprised. Junho's is thanked. Secretary Cha waves goodbye and tells him to get his hair done, which surprises him. Junho wonders if his hair is really that long. He decides to get a trim. Junho walks among the crowd thinking, "But when I was Spectre, things were a lot more comfortable." The city celebrates Junho's accomplishment, but someone wearing a mask watches, plotting revenge. Junho exits the salon. He thinks to himself, "I should take a refresher every now and then." Junho observes there's no people here as usual. He heads to his usual spot in the player market. He wonders about it. Junho smiles to himself thinking and orders some ramen as he leaves the salon. Junho walks into a restaurant. Another person is already eating, blowing on their food. Junho thinks, "Isn't this too much even for a novel?" Junho walks into the restaurant thinking Secretary Cha. She's slurping up ramen with a surprising amount of gusto. Secretary Cha chokes on her ramen. She shouts, "Seo, Seo Junho nim," quite shocked. The title is Return of the Frozen Player, and this is Chapter 26. The clock ticks. It is 8:37 a.m. Junho reads the diary he got from the fiend Vincent. The other student warns him, "I'm not gonna leave even if you look at me like that." Ignoring the other student, she continues to read. She convinces herself that there is nothing wrong with reading the forbidden books. Our ancestors. Junho pauses, agreeing that the universe could be in books. Another student asks Junho what he's reading. It is The Healing Console, Priest of the Sun. The student replies, "It's not that better." Junho scoffs at the title of the book. Someone clears their throat, and they rustle the book they're holding. The clock clicks to 8:38 a.m. Junho slams the book shut after only reading a bit. Junho slams the book shut and asks Cha Se-yoon if she is also done reading. She smiles, affirming that it was quite good, and closes her book. Junho asks Cha Se-yoon if she is surprised to see him at the Manhwa Bang. Someone mentions that they heard he was one of the elite. They thought he was too good for this. Junho expresses his joy of reading physical books over digital ones. Junho enjoys the smell of the old books. He realizes the time and gets ready to leave. Junho asks if Cha Si-yoon wants a taxi, but she declines. She lives close by and walks away. Junho waves goodbye, saying, "I'll see you tomorrow." Junho thinks that Cha works hard and he should do the same. He then wonders about visiting the States. The man asks him why he would want to go there. Junho reveals that he found a Fiends meeting place. Junho tells the man he's going in person to keep it a secret. The man seems worried and asks, "About me?" The man worries Junho will kill the Fiends before he gets any information from them. Junho says he will be careful. The man says, "I'll put my trust in you," and offers his support. Junho replies, I always need your help. Deokgu offers Junho dragon bones from the Eastern Sea Gate. He asks to give the rest to Kwon Noya for a sword. Deokgu confirms he will contact the person. He then asks if Junho has any other instructions. Junho requests the item to have the same specs. Deokgu thinks about the Emperor as he speaks. He suggests Junho tell the Emperor to retire if he cannot remember. The scene shifts to Junho's room, indicating that the conversation is over. Junho collapses onto his bed, exhausted. His phone vibrates with a notification. He turns it on. Junho receives a message from Secretary Cha about a Las Vegas plane ticket. He smirks and says, let's see. The inventory screen shows the Flute of Tidal Breath. It can grant abilities but breaks after 3 uses. The Flute of Tidal Breath is powerful, and its energy swirls around Junho. Junho sees his stats and is happy. His magic stat is the highest. Junho knows that at this rate, it won't be long until he can use Sword Aura. Lying down, Junho is confident he'll hunt on the 2nd floor. Once I learn Sword Aura and go to the 3rd floor. Junho wonders about the strength of top players after being frozen for 25 years. A plane flies under the full moon. Junho thinks about the Fiends and how troublesome they are. He sees a plane flying to Las Vegas. The chapter starts, promising more action in the world of players and gates. Junho stretches, his body aching from sitting during the teleport. If Skaya were here, we could have teleported instantly. Junho observes the crowds, realizing an artifact auction is the cause. Celebrities from around the world are coming. Junho checks his watch and decides his objective is more important than the auction. The destination is farther than expected, though. I'll wrap things up quickly. As Junho walks away, the title card appears, Return of the Frozen Player. The sign reads Jim's Cleaners. Someone turns on an air conditioner, dispelling the heat. Found it. The man shouts in frustration about the broken AC and the Shadow Brothers' failure. The man is frustrated that he will see the watchdogs. The other man confirms he also knows the watchdogs. Suddenly, the floor collapses under them. The man cries out in surprise, clutching his head in panic. The men are shocked as watchdogs appear. One of them exclaims, "Why's it so hot?" The fiend desperately begs for forgiveness. The other demands orders as the person in charge slams his fist in frustration. Looks like someone is in a lot of trouble. The woman exclaims that their assignment has changed and it is frustrating. I can't believe we're not going to the 2nd floor. One of the watchdogs shoves a report at the other, exclaiming, if you don't believe me, see for yourself. The report is then crumpled up in frustration. Boss, shouldn't we lodge a complaint? The woman clarifies that they're being told to steal something. She continues, questioning that Cal Signer isn't even their direct superior to be ordering them. The man is slapped, the watchdog is shocked and left speechless. A document falls to the ground. With a final tearing sound, the incriminating report is ripped to shreds. The evidence is gone, but tension lingers. One of the men, covered in sweat, cautiously speaks up, hey. Another figure looms over him, eyes glowing ominously, demanding, were there any other orders? The man's face is burning with rage as he witnesses the scene. And no, he whimpers out, realizing the situation. The bald figure strides forward, the flames behind him reflecting his intent. Let's go. The man falls to the floor, coughing in surprise. A voice calls out, are you okay? The one on the floor questions if those were the watchdogs, but the other gets mad. Are you blind? A voice warns to listen carefully. Talk of 9 heavens, strongest players in the world. The man recalls a rumor. 6 months ago, Arma the skeleton mage turned watchdogs into skeletons. That's crazy. The tension is cut by a new voice. Damn, you scared me. They realize someone is here to fix the AC. The fiend questions the delay, nearly dying from the heat. Suddenly, ice magic fills the air, offering salvation. I can help with that. The fiends are surprised to see Junho now using his ice powers. Stop playing around, listen while we're being nice. Junho adjusts his cap, declaring he is not playing around. Stupid fiends should die quietly. The watchdogs stand tall, but at their feet, a dark magic consumes their fallen comrade. Something sinister is occurring. The laundry room is a graveyard, he says. They really were just small fries. The laundry room is covered in a dark magic substance. A man arrives. Sorry to wake you, I just had a favor to ask. Junho receives a call but clarifies he only wants an invitation to the Las Vegas auction. He can't get in without one. Standing near Jim's cleaners, someone demands the name and room number of the hotel. Chapter 28. The story continues with Junho's journey as the return of the frozen player. The auction will be held tomorrow. Junho explains he's just familiarizing himself with the layout to avoid special clothes. Junho receives a message from someone to wear the outfit sent over. Junho enters the casino. He notes to himself that he's never been to one of these places before, a new experience for the reformed Spectre. As Junho scans in, someone recognizes him. Junho asks the person who they are, wondering who this person is. Ha-in-ho from the Dakibai Guild introduces himself, reminding Junho of their encounter with Gong Juha in Insadong. Junho recalls the meeting. Ha-in-ho is amused by Junho's question. Junho admits he's in town for the artifact auction tomorrow at the MGM Grand. The security guard explains they were hired by one of the hosts. He asks if Junho was trying to enter the casino. The security guard explains that the casino's alarms are going off because the system has changed. After the world changed, casinos lost a lot of money because of players who cheated. The alarms stop. The security guard confirms the casino was made to accommodate player abilities. Ha-in-ho mentions that players are allowed to use their skills here. A new question arises, won't it be more advantageous for high-level players? Princess throws her hands up in disbelief. It was definitely the second one. Is this a scam? She accuses. Princess is distraught. I can't believe it. A scam? Is this a scam? Princess is down on her luck and declares how much she's lost, her hands trembling. She calls Junho a Mr. Snakehead. Princess is surprised to see Junho. She jokes about him wanting to be her underling. Junho says he came for the auction. Junho is told to let the staff know if anything happens. He agrees and wonders if she's allowed to gamble. Yeah, it is hard. Someone comments on how fast the dealer's hands are. They remark the dealer was on the second floor once. All the dealers wear masks, probably to hide their abilities. Junho bets all his chips, shocking the princess. She comments that he's not used to the speed of the game. Princess is frustrated she's still losing. The dealer asks Junho if he shall begin. Junho confirms. The bells ring loudly and echo throughout the casino. It seems like cheating is occurring again. The bells ring incessantly as the dealer sweeps the table with impossible speed. Princess exclaims she's got it, but the bells ring again, indicating more cheating. She wonders if she should bet again. With a sly smile, Princess suggests Junho stops betting. He looks at her confused. Why? The dealer is in the middle. He congratulates Junho. Princess exclaims it's beginner's luck. Princess mentions beginner's luck only happens once, suggesting he should stop. He states he hasn't won so he can't stop. Junho bets again. Someone off-screen calls out, addressing Junho by his past name, Hey Bones. Princess challenges Junho and says, "Wanna play against me?" Junho is visibly annoyed and shouts, "Don't call me that." Junho realizes he's found the Fiends. He doesn't have proof and can't act rashly. A dark aura emanates as Junho plots to turn the tables. The princess realizes gambling can be scary. Then this time, a voice declares they will use 5 cups, addressing the 3 gamblers. The cups line up on the table. A voice instructs them to choose. With determination, Princess confidently picks the middle. What could she be scheming to win this game? The dealer instructs everyone to choose the rightmost cup. He congratulates them as one is chosen. The dealer reveals the cup on the right. Princess scoffs, calling it luck, while Junho remains calm. A figure notes that dealing with that skinny guy is harder than the woman. A pool ball sits on the table. Chapter 29 begins. Junho is still on a mission to save everyone. The woman looks bewildered as Junho stacks his chips. "Mr. Snakehead, you have a talent for this. How are you so good?" Junho smirks, noting that he learned it from a friend. A figure appears, stating it is easy to look through a bluff. Don't look at the shell, look at the substance. He states it doesn't matter if you're stronger. You have to understand the essence of their technique. Junho realizes the trick isn't in the shells, but the dealer's skill. Junho instructs the man on which shell. The mysterious dealer prepares to move the shells, his face still hidden. The mysterious dealer smirks, agreeing with Jun-ho's assessment. It seems Jun-ho is right on track. The mysterious dealer announces a change, instructing everyone to wait. Team leader Gong, a woman, calls out. The dealer suggests since they have time he can show them an interesting artifact. She looks shocked. Jun-ho examines a compass, stating it was lent by Shim Deokgu. He explains it can locate a particular type of people using magic. Jun-ho realizes someone they're looking for is here. The woman wonders why they would be. Jun-ho is shocked the compass is reacting to someone at the table. The woman states she's going to the restroom. The woman states she is going to the bathroom as well. The dealer coldly asks if it will take long. He replies no. The mysterious dealer claims, "I'll be back in 5 minutes." He rushes outside. The dealer rushes away, vanishing down an alley. Jun-ho is seen in the distance as the man leaves the building. The dealer realizes it isn't the bathroom. He thinks the artifact helps him locate fiends. He ran when he found out who Jun-ho was. The dealer is shocked as the compass shatters. He thinks there's no way an artifact would break that easily. The dealer realizes it can't be an artifact unless it's single-use. Blue energy flares as Jun-ho finds him. The dealer appears with a sword, wondering if Jun-ho planned this. Jun-ho smirks, stating he sensed the fiend at the casino. The dealer asks how much he knows. Jun-ho replies, "Dunno," when questioned about his schedule. The dealer unsheathes his sword, stating, "Then there's no need for us to talk." The dealer lunges forward with a flurry of attacks. Jun-ho barely dodges the strikes, gritting his teeth. Jun-ho is shocked at the dealer's speed. He realizes it's not just physical ability. Is the dealer using an acceleration skill? Jun-ho wonders. Jun-ho realizes the dealer knew his skill level all along. The dealer is ready to kill him. Jun-ho barely dodges. The dealer realizes Jun-ho could sense his acceleration skill. Not bad. The dealer knows that the head and heart are fatal spots. Jun-ho realizes he will aim for the head. The dealer declares he'll aim for Jun-ho's heart. Suddenly, Jun-ho counters, unleashing a wave of ice energy at the dealer. The dealer is caught off guard by the sudden ice attack. A smoke screen, no matter what tricks you use. The dealer's eyes glow red with rage, exclaiming his knife is aimed for Jun-ho's heart. The ice shatters, Jun-ho remarks unfortunately, as the dealer easily destroys the ice sword. The dealer is shocked, realizing it was a trap. "If you know my skill." The dealer predicted Jun-ho would aim for his heart. He angrily yells to shut up. The dealer blocks with a sword of ice. He is shocked as it breaks from the sheer force. If you know my skill." The dealer's sword breaks through the ice. He says, "Well," unimpressed. The dealer stands covered in blood, stating that being too careful can be dangerous. The woman admits Jun-ho's strategic skills, but is worried that he has not returned yet. The man fears the missing person was killed. The woman asks for a description and he confirms Jun-ho was with Gong Juha. The man requests the woman to find Jun-ho among the players in Las Vegas. The woman is shocked, realizing Jun-ho's photo is on the screen. The man confirms it is him in Las Vegas. He is surprised it's a rookie who debuted only 2 months ago. He's shocked. The woman is shocked to find out Jun-ho was with the Shadow Brothers at Eastern Sea Gate. She suspects he approached them on purpose. The woman looks serious as the man declares Jun-ho a threat. He believes his skills were the reason the Shadow Brothers died. Jun-ho arrives at the MGM Grand Hotel in Las Vegas. He closes the car door. Jun-ho enters the MGM Grand. As he passes, a man watches Jun-ho walk past the hotel lobby. "Excuse me," he says, calling after him. The first man asks Jun-ho to show his invitation. A second man is surprised to see Jun-ho has an invitation. The staff welcomes Jun-ho in immediately, no security needed. Jun-ho wonders if Gong Juha told them. The staff says it's hot and wants an iced tea. Jun-ho stands behind her paying for his drink, 20. As Gong Juha walks away with the box, the man she served says, "Oh my, who's this? Isn't he the one who ran away?" The woman scolds the man. She couldn't sleep because of the ice compass artifact. "I'm sorry," she says. The woman retorts, "Is that the best you can do?" Jun-ho says he'll treat her next time. She asks for something expensive. Gong Juha explains that the box will keep the drinks and ice cream cold. She turns to face her associate and says, "Mr. Snakehead, you should prepare yourself. Once the auction starts, a long, heated battle will begin. The woman says she hates the heat even as a flame user. I hope you enjoy yourself, she says, waiting for her tea. The flame user says goodbye, yes, I'll be going. The flame user is speechless as she looks around the enormous hall. Wow, the hall is so big. It seems the high-profile guests have arrived, including royalty and player association leaders. I'm ready to go, she thinks anxiously. Seated in the audience, the flame user suddenly recognizes someone. Hello there, she says with a bright smile. The man beside her looks confused. Huh, Mr. Snakehead. The woman explains the seats are all pre-designated, so you can't sit anywhere. The man says his invitation says seat A13. The woman is surprised to see she has a VIP ticket. This is unexpected. The woman yells at Junho, you didn't spend all the casino money, did you? The flame user is surprised to find out that Shim Deokgu provided the clothing and hotel room. You're amazing, she exclaims. The man doesn't think he's the president's heir yet. The woman thinks he's here on the president's behalf. Junho is nervously scratching his head. She's getting carried away, I can't say no. Mr. Snakehead questions her intentions. She retorts about his gambling. She declares, I'm a pro, I take my job seriously. She's thankful Gong Juha is here, as she is bothered by the heat. Junho uses Confession of the Dead on the watchdog. Junho realizes he needs the Dakibai Guild to defeat Arma. Whether he likes it or not, he will need their help. Heaven's Breath, artifact number 85 is available for auction. The flame user plans to protect everyone there. Junho listens as the auctioneer takes the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your patience.